Hi folks, it's Dr. Hudgens. I have finished grading your work for your reflective exercise number 1, and I have given you feedback in the associated rubric that's on Blackboard. Most of the time you're going to find my comments and feedback directly in the rubric versus in text or on the documents. Sometimes if there's a lot I need to say, I'll send you a note there, but I'll let you know if you need to look in a different place for feedback. Most of the time you're going to find that feedback in the inline grading rubric, and that is the case with this assignment. You guys did a great job taking a few moments to complete a leadership survey and spend some time in self-reflection. Take some intentional effort. Some of you had written that the findings in your survey surprised you. Some of you who've been in leadership for a little while did your survey and was like, yep, that's me. I've got it covered. As you can tell behind me, Madeline and Gracie, the puppies, and that's Madeline saying hello, they're playing. If it gets too rambunctious, I'll put them in timeout. Okay, so let me give you some general feedback. It is so important as you move through your graduate program that you are very intentional about professional writing. And that professional writing isn't just formatting. It isn't just the structure of a paragraph. People often think about APA is that thing with headings on the reference page. APA is a whole body of information, a book about what it means to be a professional author. Many of you are in leadership positions. You're probably going to stay in leadership positions, and very few of you are aspiring to write this great big manuscript and get it published. That's my hope for you. But I appreciate that most of you are thinking, why do I need to be good at writing? I don't want to do this. Bear with the process. Even if you spend the rest of your career spending time writing really good, crisp, professional emails, or a budget proposal, or a tutorial of some sort for your employees, you want to be able to do it very well. So I don't want you to think about APA as just the structure, but we do need to talk about structure. When you're writing in graduate level work, you need to be using APA level headings. Reflective exercise number 1 was ideally suited for level 1 headings throughout the paper, or a mix of level 1 and level 2. I like a level 1 with lots of level 2s. Stylistically, it's entirely up to you, but each of your sections need to be broken up using level headings. APA does a great job of giving you guidelines on how to figure that out and how to properly format them. It's important to know that you're going to use level headings sequentially. So once you've used a level 1, you can either use another level 1 or you can move to a level 2. What you'll never do is have a level 1 and then go to a level 3. So spend some time in your APA manual and really spend some time understanding the importance of that writing. The other thing I want to talk to you about is the synthesis of work that you have read. Don't make the mistake of spending time direct quoting other authors' work. As a graduate writer, as a polished writer, you're going to want to take what you're reading in your textbooks and articles and other scholarly sources and synthesize that information. And what that means, what synthesize means, is just taking what you've read, putting it into your own words, and then explaining how that content that you're paraphrasing, how it's related to the topic at hand. This author said this about my topic, and this is why it's relevant. That's synthesis. That's taking what somebody else said and giving it new meaning into the body of your work. That is scholarly writing. You want to avoid doing direct quotes throughout a paper. Every once in a while, you're going to find something that an author wrote that simply cannot be said better, that simply needs to stand on its own. That is a zebra, it is not a horse. So be sure you're very careful about what you choose to place in parentheses or in direct quotes. It is wonderful to use biblical references. It is great to reference biblical stories. And every once in a while, it's okay to do direct quotes from our Bible. It is more meaningful if you go through, let's say, a subset of 7 verses, and those verses speak to you. I want you to paraphrase and synthesize what that meaning has, and then cite the place that you found it in the Bible in an in-text citation. What chapter, what group of verses, and then tie it into the content that you're talking about in your paper. So, I hope that gives you some clarity on how to avoid direct quotes. The next thing I want to talk to you is about scholarly sources. In graduate writing, you should be using resources that are peer reviewed, that are 5 years old or younger, and they should be coming from scholarly resources. They should not be editorials, they should not be commentaries. If you are reading through an article and it is an author's opinion or their experience or their thoughts about something, if it isn't actual research, I want you to avoid using that. There are times that it's going to be appropriate to use editorialized comments or commentary that you're going to find in peer-reviewed journals. Lots of peer-reviewed journals have a front section, those first few pages, that are editorials, that are commentaries that are published by really smart people that have really good ideas. But for our purposes, you want to be in the literature, in the research component of that literature. That's what we mean when we're referencing scholarly resources. Now, there may be times, let's say you've gone through a topic and you've found 3 editorials or 3 commentaries that all say the same thing, and they're written by 3 well-regarded authors. You could use a combined in-text citation, cite all 3 of those sets of authors, and say, this group of authors have reported this, and they're in agreement in how this is relevant to my topic. That would be giving it credibility, and because you put multiple authors together, it gives it more relevance, more validity. Validity is the word I'm looking for. So for your graduate level writing, most of the time I want you to stick to research-based articles. Every once in a while, you're going to find a website that's going to be a vetted website that we know is well regarded, that we know has scientific evidence. Some, not all, of the government sites do. We have the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation does a great job. There's lots of really good ones out there. But again, websites should be the one-off, not the regular. The last thing I want to say about scholarly resources. Let's say you're writing a paper about quality issues with the pediatric population, and you find an article about quality issues with an elderly population. Be very careful making an extrapolation or a relationship between what an author says about an adult population and what an author says about a pediatric population. Make sure you're population focused on what you're looking for. And they're back. So I think I have covered everything that I want to talk to you about for this week as far as your academic feedback. I'm looking forward to seeing your work next week. Our virtue this week was joy. I hope that at some point this week, if you have not today, that you find joy. I live in Roanoke, and it was almost 70 degrees here in January, and it was lovely. I missed most of it because I was on campus. Wednesday's my campus day. But I hope wherever you are in your week this week that you've taken a few moments to really reflect on our virtue of joy and understand that at the very foundation of our joy, that the joy we have is being a child of Christ. And I hope you find comfort in that and that it makes your heart light. I am going to go put 2 puppies in timeout. I hope you guys have a great evening. Know that I'm here. Send me an email or touch base if you have any questions or concerns. Have a great rest of the week.